it's so nice out here.
Yes. You have a blanket, though.
I don't know why I grabbed it. It's like as a bug... You know what? I'm ditching the blanket. Right. It was a bug protector kind of a deal, I think. And also it got the blanket out of the rain. Taking the sweater off too.
Oh, yeah, I'm keeping my sweater on, though.
I mean, I could, because it rained a little bit, just enough to kind of drop the temperature and kind of, I don't know, do something to the humidity, but I can be outside in shorts and a t-shirt and flip-flops, and it's okay. It was pushing 90 today.
It was.
And I was walking between the buildings at work, and I was like, I am uncomfortably hot, and that's just the best feeling.
I went out for my interval cardio. Whew. It was intense.
Yeah.
Especially because I was just going up and down up here. There's some trees, but not enough. Not enough shade.
It felt so recently that we were doing one of these videos and we were celebrating shedding the coats and only wearing hoodies.
Yeah.
It's June.
It's June.
What the hell? When did that happen?
It's June 2021. We've made it this far. My birthday's coming up.
I should probably figure out what you want.
Alex, this is first, so we can't talk about my birthday.
Can't talk about my birthday.
And I only get like 3 weeks.
Did we get him anything?
We're gonna get him something.
Do we know what we're getting him?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Home Depot stuff. Like
Nice.
some garden tools that I think will be pretty cheap, and then a Home Depot gift card, and we'll put it all in a basket, and Hannah's gonna paint some rocks, and it'll be great.
Be awesome. Excellent. Glad to hear it.
I hope he chooses something good for his birthday dinner.
I'm sure I'll choose some horrible.
Yeah, probably like corn potatoes and hamburger or something.
But nothing.
Anywho.
He hasn't had your dad feed him in some time. I'm sure he's going to utilize that to the full of its potential.
Yes.
Also, weather. Something grilled.
Yeah, it's going to be in the 90s.
Is it? This video is way off track.
It really is. Well, it's 72 right now. Sunday. Oh, it's gone down. Sunday. Sunny. 88.
Oh, frigid.
What's Nashville looking like? Nope, still rain. Thunderstorms.
What's the percentage?
40%.
You'll be fine.
We're supposed to go on a pontoon boat on Friday.
Be fine.
So worried.
We were supposed to get hurricaned at our anniversary. We were fine.
Oh, yeah, it's fine.
Can we do this thing?
Okay, fine.
All right.
Fine.
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 Huh? Yes, I did. It sounded like a dump truck unloading. Which is pretty typical for midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's midnight.
Yeah. Slide around and do that.
All right. Let's do this thing. So, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Season 1, Episode 8, Old School. Open on Jake playing with the police robot to steal Scully's shoes and blow them up. Post-credits. Jimmy Brogan, a cop book author whose stories inspired Jake. Meanwhile, Rosa has to take a seminar on how to take the stand.
Yes. So, I don't know if they explained why, but this author that kind of retells stories of cops is there at the precinct, and he wants to shadow some of their detectives.
He's doing an article.
He's like a journalist.
It was like a how things have changed from the 70s sort of thing.
And he wrote this book about cops in the 70s, and it inspired Jake. So he's really excited, and so he's going to shadow Jake and Amy. So, yeah. And then, what was the other thing?
Rosa has to take a seminar on how to take the stand in court.
Yeah, she's going to testify in a case.
She's a bitch.
And she's notoriously awful on the stand. And violent and stuff.
Yeah. So, this Jimmy guy is following Amy and Jake around. Time compare how cops did their job back in the day versus now. He's unimpressed with current processes.
Yeah, he calls, like, so much of police work is done behind a computer now. You know, crime is down 70% or whatever Amy said, because they fight cybercrime and they, you know, track cases from a computer. And that's...
he calls them hair or something.
Yeah, I wrote it down at one
hair
point.
bunches, hair
bags.
Hair bags.
That's what desk jockeys were back then, but now it's more, you know, it's most of what cops do.
Yeah. But Jake wants to impress him, so he takes him drinking. So this Jimmy guy is out with Jake and Amy, and Jimmy says something like, oh yeah, because Jake had asked him about one of the cops that he had written about, one of the detectives, and oh yeah, he got his finger shot off, and he just used it to give the finger to the Puerto Ricans all night, and Amy's like, and I'm out.
And I'm out.
Because she's Puerto Rican. And I like how the show went there, but didn't go there. You know what I mean? Like, they brought it up, but they didn't shove it down your throat. It was just like, and I'm offended, so I'm out. And that's all I'm going to say about it. Anyway. So Jake is like, bartender, 2 scotches. And Jimmy says, no, he meant 2 bottles. Nice. And now I'm just thinking about my poor dad on Monday.
I'm thinking about the scotch that your dad brought me that Ben drank.
And then apparently puked up the next day.
Well, and, you know, he poured a quarter of the bottle into his glass and then was promptly too drunk to drink it, so I stole it. So, it worked out-ish.
Wasn't he supposed to... Weren't you guys making plans for him to come out this summer?
Oh, yeah.
Like, just to come out and not, like, have anything, like, Super Bowl party or First Communion or whatever. It was just...
That rings a bell. I should see about that.
Yeah, we've got a pretty packed... But if you came out the weekend of Amari's party, that wouldn't be bad, because we'll be around and the girls will be off doing that. And
When is that?
July 10th. I checked with Rick.
Okay. Anyway.
Off topic. So the next morning, Jake is super hungover. He tells Amy, turn off your mouth siren. But Brogan is fine. More Rosa courtroom stuff. Jake takes a hangover cure of egg yolks. Or like raw egg. And again, they could have gone in a puking direction, and they didn't, and I respect that.
I don't understand how that's a hangover cure. Like, people always have these horrible hangover cures. I'm like
pickle juice.
I can't imagine being hungover to the point of nausea and having to down... Like, I would puke. I would absolutely puke. I don't get these cures. Greasy burgers. That one I get. Nothing else.
Anyway. So he takes his hangover cure and then cracks this cyber case that they're working. But it turns out Jake badmouthed Holt while he was drinking, and Brogan is going to publish it. Because he's old school.
Yeah, it was like, there aren't a lot of cops these days that would be willing to openly badmouth their captain on record. I respect it. You know, it's seeing Jake as a bro and everything like that.
Yeah. Old school. Meanwhile, Rosa takes a stand. Does not go well.
She's trying to take a bunch of advice from Terry and Boyle.
Because they don't know where she's coming from.
Yeah, they're like, no, you got to smile and identify with the jury.
And blink. And she's like talking about this horrible scene that she walked in on, and she's like smiling about it.
I saw his head get caved in and blood was gushing. It's like, now everybody thinks you're a psychopath. Which she is.
Well, yeah. Jake wants to talk to Jimmy and convince him not to print the quotes. Jimmy is resistant, so Jake punches him. Whoopsie! On the stand, Rosa is struggling but goes to her happy place. Meanwhile, Amy explains to Holt that Jake punched Jimmy because Jimmy called Holt a homo. Because it turns out that what actually happened was Jimmy said that he wouldn't print the quotes, and then he made an offhand comment about Holt being a homo, and Jake was like, oh, you shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Because because Amy had said something like, oh, where's Jake? Like, he should get he gets the credit for the collar because he figured it out. And where is he? Oh, I sent him home. And I can't remember what she said that triggered Holt, and he was just like, what? She's like, well, if Jake didn't tell you, I don't want to get in the middle of that. And Holt manipulated her. And she's like, okay, so this is what actually happened. And that's when we, as an audience, got to see what actually happened, which I love that storytelling in a show.
Yeah.
Like, you get one perspective, but then
you don't get the whole story.
And you think you got the whole story, but you didn't. So the fact that... Because, I mean, true speak here, I'm not for the gay agenda, the indoctrination, the whole pride thing. Like, I'm not for it. But I'm also not for name calling.
Yeah, especially not somebody I respect.
Yeah. And if this were a real thing, and if I were working under someone like Holt who was gay, and someone disrespectfully referred to him as a homo, no, that's not.
Right.
I may not agree with his life choices, but no, you don't do that.
Especially if it's somebody who doesn't know them. I mean, I've had gay friends, and no, I wouldn't abide that.
Yeah.
It's not about that.
Yeah, and it's like why I don't like the N-word.
It would be like, like calling somebody a slut. I don't agree with that lifestyle either, but I'm not going to let you use those kinds of names on somebody I call a friend. It's just not okay.
Yeah, that deserves a punching.
That's a bad one.
Anyway, we're not like woke.
We're very much no.
We're Christian, because it's not up to us to judge.
Right.
All we can do is say, you're going down a wrong path.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's up to you. And somehow that equates to hate.
That's hate speech.
Well, because a lot of people who claim to be Christian get a little disrespectful towards their fellow human beings.
It's all online shit.
I mean, I've had to block conservative friends of mine because of the shit that they
Sure.
say. I'm like, I'm not for that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not for that woke movement, but...
No, and I ignore most of the woke shit that I see online, too. I just don't... I don't want to see it. I don't want to see any side of it.
Anyway.
Personal interactions are where it's at. One-to-one, in person, that's who people actually are. And online, people shoot their mouths off, and it's all just fake keyboard warrior shit, and I don't care for it.
I mean, Emily, formerly Craig, still, I think, considers me a really good friend, even though she knows very well where I come from.
Mm-hmm.
And she's fairly vocal about where she comes from. But we still consider each other really good friends.
Yeah, and if it ever comes up in conversation, it's over the heavy influence of alcohol, and it's from a place of respect. And it's like, this is what you believe, and this is what I believe. Let me get the next round.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, moving on.
Yeah.
So Rosa's happy place is super scary and awesome. As a thank you, Rosa invites Boyle to dinner with her boyfriend.
Pew.
Jimmy's article is posted, calls Jake a hairbag, but Holtz defends Jake. To close, Jake blows up Jimmy's book with a Die Hard quote. Then we get episode 9, Sal's Pizza. At the precinct, everyone's internet search history is posted. They all rag on each other. Good times. Jake gets a call from Sal. He brings Boyle to the best pizza joint in the neighborhood, which has burned down. Fire Marshal Boone, Patton Oswald, shows up and shoos them away because it's the fire department's jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Rosa and Amy are working a robbery case and discussing their search histories. Turns out Rosa was offered a captain position somewhere. Boyle and Jake discuss the arson case. Meanwhile, they catch the hacker that posted everyone's search history. Terry and Gina are going to work on hiring a new IT director. Fire department thinks Sal burned his own place down. Jake wants to defend him. Amy is obviously jealous of Rosa's offer. Terry and Gina interview IT people.
It was a very rapid fire episode.
Yeah. Boyle and Jake break into Sal's but get caught. A fight ensues. Boone accuses Jake of starting the fight, but he totally didn't. The hell? Boone threw the first punch.
Yeah. Jake, broke into the crime scene. Boone caught him. Okay, whatever. And they get into a little argument, but then Boone just hauls off and punches Jake. It's just like, how are you going to get away with accusing Jake of starting the fight?
Right. So Jake divulges that Sal's is special to him because he used to go there with his dad before his dad abandoned him. This breaks Boone, and he agrees to work with Jake. Then Rosa and Amy go to Ropesburg because Amy's been, super passive-aggressive with these, captain insults.
Yeah. Calling Rosa captain, all this stuff, and Rosa's like, oh my gosh, enough.
I hate you. Get in the car. I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. Are you driving me somewhere to kill me? I thought about it.
And in the meantime, you get this, Terry and Gina interviewing potential IT people, and Gina's just being a total dick about it.
Mm. But there's a reason behind it.
Yes.
She's, interrogating them about what's your favorite Jay-Z song, and with one of them, she's, really, grossly flossing while they're interviewing. And,
and the other one, she, startles him real bad.
Yeah.
So, Terry is like, well, I think this guy's good. And she's like, no. I asked him 3 times what his favorite Jay-Z song was, and he blew up at me. Like, how is he going to react when Scully has to ask him 3 times how to do something on his computer? And this, easily startled guy, I mean...
Rosa's scary.
Rosa's scary, and there's blood and guts everywhere all the time. And then the chick who was put off by the flossing, it's like she couldn't even handle that. Like, how's she gonna handle, Hitchcock's feet?
It was actually very well planned and a pretty good point.
Yeah, because while you were watching the interviews, you were just like, oh my gosh, Gina, stop.
Yeah.
Just stop. But she knew what she was doing.
Yeah.
And Holt knew. And that's why he wanted her to do it, because
she gets people.
Yeah.
And she knows the inner workings of the precinct.
And she was able to pinpoint these people's weaknesses. Before, I mean, she knew exactly what to do to set them off.
Yeah.
So it was a good interplay there.
I do think it was unfair. I mean, she never interviewed the savant. The kid that calls himself Savant.
Who was the guy that hacked them.
Which doesn't make you a good security expert. Just saying.
Yeah. But Terry and Gina present the IT guy choices to Holt. Gina suggests the hacker, Savant. Jake, Boone, and Boyle think they know who set the fire. A cabinet was Jimmy to open with a crowbar. It was Gino. Boyle had complimented Gino's improved pizza. Gino stole the recipe for the sauce. So at the end, the cops and fire department war is back on. And Jake and Boyle prank Boone by putting the kiddie pool full of pizza sauce at the end of the fire pole. And I ask the important question, how? It's a fire pole.
How does one wrap a kiddie pool around a fire pole and fill it with pizza sauce?
The only thing I can think of is that they cut a slit, put it around it, and then duct taped it and filled it with pizza sauce. But I don't even see that working very well. I've worked with kiddie pools. They suck.
They do. They suck bad. But, I mean, we solved our own problem. That's probably what they did.
Anyway, then we have the Thanksgiving episode. Everyone's playing Boyle bingo. Why would they tell them what's on their bingo cards?
So yeah, everybody has a bingo card. As soon as he walks in, he's like, Happy Turkey Day, and then a couple of them, aha! It's like, what's going on? Oh, we all have Boyle bingo cards where we're all predicting what Boyle's going to say during Thanksgiving. And whoever gets bingo first gets $100 or something like that. So a few of them had him calling it Turkey Day on their bingo cards, and he started off the episode by saying Happy Turkey Day. So yeah, that's a thing, and it actually maintains throughout the episode, which I enjoyed.
We get the credit sequence. Jake made a cocaine bust. Amy tells him to get ready for her Thanksgiving party. Scully sings some opera. Turns out that his actor has a background in opera. Amy invites Holt to the party and is psyched that he'll be there. Jake is trying to get out of the party. So everyone's at the party. Amy asks everyone to say what they're thankful for. As she begins her speech, Holt and Jake are called back to the precinct because someone stole $10,000 from evidence lockup, and they get security footage of the perp. Jake is psyched to skip Thanksgiving. Amy is refusing to serve food until Holt is back. Terry starts eating, and the food is horrible because Amy swaps out salt for baking soda. Because why wouldn't you? They're both white powders. Everyone flushed the food. It was all horrible. Jake and Holt are going to door, investigating every perp that was released that day. The thief was left-handed, so they want to get them all to sign a form to see if they're left-handed, like the perp. They catch the perp, but left the money with a bookie. The rest are all at the bar for food. Amy tries to act out and gets them kicked out. Jake and Holt track the money to a Chinese gambling place. Back at the precinct, the squad seeks food. Holt and Jake wrap things up, and Boyle saves Thanksgiving. Holt mentors Amy. How the fuck did Boyle get Peking duck last minute?
Yeah, that bothered me a lot. Like,
Yeah.
Boyle saves Thanksgiving by,
Getting a Peking duck.
well, putting together an amalgamation of Thanksgiving by ordering from a bunch of different restaurants. He gets, like, the Indian food and the Chinese food and all kinds of things. He's like, in place of the turkey, we have a Peking duck, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's not something you can get
It's
last
smiling
minute.
at me.
It's smiling at me. Yeah.
Jake shows up to celebrate Thanksgiving. He's thankful to have a family. Duh.
Oh.
And Jake wins Boyle bingo because Charles cries. I mean, it was a good episode.
We kind of flew through it, but...
Yeah, that scene when they're at they go into the one family's house and they're all getting down on the one guy because they thought he was the one that did it, but it was actually his brother. But Holt embraces the cover that Jake was trying to get him to take. And then you got Andy Samberg in the background just trying so hard not to break character.
Yeah. And it's great because you can't tell if it's Andy Samberg or if it's Jake Peralta. Like, because you know they're both...
Matter.
It doesn't matter. He is who he is. But he's just so happy that Holt is buying into the character. My wife was killed by a man in a yellow sweater. It's the only case I've never solved.
And Andre Bauer is just a fucking treasure. And, like, I have no idea if he's straight or gay or whatever. He has... Like, all of the actors in the show have embraced their characters so beautifully, like, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah.
And then the last one, episode 11, Christmas. I think we're going to fly through this one, too.
Okay.
Jake and Boyle break up a Santa fight. Boyle kicks Santa in the jingle bells. Credit sequence. Amy brought six presents, and Holt announces he wants no presents. Holt calls Jake into his office. He received death threats, and so chose Jake for his security detail. Holt
As
has
is
to do what
protocol.
Jake says.
As is protocol.
Mm-hmm.
So Jake is leading the security duty on Holt, and they're both like, I mean, it's a nothing threat. That, you know, that's why I picked you, Jake. I figured, you know, you wouldn't take it seriously, and it's fine. You'll let me do what I want so I can get work done.
Right. But Jake does not play by that.
No, because he has an opportunity. Because even Holt's superior is like, all right, Peralta, he has to do what you said. You're on his security detail. You call the shots.
And he keeps changing the code name.
Yeah, he keeps calling him, like, Cold Mountain, and he just keeps changing his code name at every opportunity.
Turns out Boyle is going to go on a singles cruise. Apparently, he's been open about his attraction to Rosa, and she rejected him repeatedly. And then we also have Terry's psych exam to go back to the active duty. Meanwhile, Amy wants to take a picture of everyone in a Santa hat lineup, and they all bail. Jake is being a dick about the whole security detail thing. No shock. They go to Jake's mom's house so Holt can work in peace, but it's a trick. They're in a motel. And Jake handcuffs himself to Holt and throws away the key. Amy and Gina are trying to get a picture of Rosa smiling for the Christmas card. When Holt said he was texting his husband, he was actually texting Boyle for help. Turns out he does think the threat is real. Holt suspects Hames, the freestyle killer. More Christmas stuff.
Yeah, so there's this killer from back in the 80s that Holt arrested. And...
A swimmer. He killed all the swimmers.
Yeah. And when Holt arrested him, he taunted him. He was like, you're going to be sitting in a jail cell while I celebrate holiday after holiday, and I'll go for a swim and everything. Like, he taunted him. It is what it is.
And Holt tells Jake, like, I did something you would do. And because Jake was like, oh, I think you and I would have gotten along back in the day. And Holt was like, and that's why I changed.
Yeah.
Fair. More Christmas stuff. Holt doesn't want to get others involved in the hunt for Hames. He's ashamed because he taunted the perp. The squad goes after Hames at a rail yard. Terry smokes the perp. Turns out Boyle took 2 bullets for Rosa. In the butt.
In the butt.
And that was the real turning point
Mm-hmm.
for their relationship. That was never really a relationship. And I had, you know, when the show started, they, like, set it up like, oh, Boyle's got this big crush on Rosa, and, you know, you want them to get together. But I actually really respect the fact that they never put them together. I mean, she agreed to go, it might have even been second season, but she agreed to go to a wedding with him.
Mm.
And she dressed up all nice and everything. And then she basically, I think at the end of the episode, she's like, don't try to be something you're not. And even at that point, you thought, oh, did they get together? But I respect the fact that they never did.
Yeah. They let it develop in a very fluid way, and it was fine.
Yeah, like, you wanted them to get together early on, but I'm okay that they didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that really goes to show how good the show is, because there wasn't all this drama about it.
No. It just kind of developed in a natural way.
And I know it might even be the next episode coming up, but, you know, Rosa has a weird, like, she won't let, oh, right, because of the painkillers that Boyle is on, he is very honest, and she won't let him
Vocalize his feelings.
Yeah. So she keeps avoiding him.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it turns out to be nothing.
Yeah.
And I wonder if, you know what? I actually wonder if this is... No, it's... Okay, yeah, because the next episode is still season 1, episode 12, The Pontiac Bandit. I was like, oh, why do we have to end on that? Because this is our introduction to Doug Judy.
Doug Judy. One of the other wonderful recurring themes in this show. And I love the running gags. I love it all.
And again, like, the show started out with some real cringy, like, but the cringe factor is so muted.
Oh, yeah, and it's already worn off, I think, even here we are by episode 11. It's really not a thing.
Right.
Any cringe is immediately owned. There was a joke in one of the episodes. Oh, yeah, in the Thanksgiving episode, Holt showed up to Amy's place, and she was like, hello, Captain, you're looking beautiful. And Holt's like, thank you for inviting me. Your apartment was very easy to find. And Jake just goes like, "Thank you guys, weirdest conversation ever." So like, that happened, and Amy, realized she called him beautiful and was like, move past it. But then later on,
she's like, "You're beautiful." She told Jake, "You're beautiful," and he's like, "Huh?" And she's like, "I'm owning it.
I'm owning it now." Like, and that's what they do. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's like you say something kind of awkward or embarrassing, and the group of people that you're with are like, and you're like, "You know what? I'm owning it." And the fact that you can feel comfortable enough owning it,
man,
which is why I'm okay with Stephanie choosing my name for the shirts for the bachelorette party.
Anybody that feels socially awkward should watch this show and learn how to own their awkwardness and just be themselves and be awesome.
Amy is the perfect example.
Yeah. Yeah. She's super awkward. And, like, confident.
And she just kind of plays it off.
Yeah.
Like, okay. I'm going to go over here and do this thing now.
Yeah.
And Jake, too.
Yeah. Actually.
And obviously, like, Boyle and Rosa, Hitchcock and Scully, even Terry, like, they all have that awkwardness.
And they're unapologetic for it.
The only one that isn't is Gina, which, thinking back on it, I'm like, I'm kind of okay that Chelsea Peretti left.
Yeah, she didn't really fit with the squad.
No. And she was awkward as hell, but she owned it. I think it was just, and I think I don't know if they let her go or if they fired her. I don't think they fired her, but she, had other stuff going on. But I didn't hate that she left. Like, I didn't hate her character, but I didn't hate that she left either. Because it was just like, she was kind of a bully. But she wasn't so much of a bully that we're like, oh my gosh, please get rid of her.
Yeah, she and Jake had a nice rapport, and it turned out they were like childhood friends and stuff like that, or cousins or something like that.
They were childhood friends, I believe. And she had her thing with Boyle.
Right. No, nothing about her arc really bothered me. And when she left, I was kind of like, oh, that sucks. Like, she was funny and everything, but it's almost like she was the comic relief in a sitcom. You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't necessary.
Like, Friends could have let Lisa Kudrow go and it would have been fine.
Yeah, although that makes me sad. But yeah.
Because I'm not a huge Friends fan. Like, everyone's posting about, the reunion, whatever. And I think a certain part of me is curious because that was probably one of the first adult shows that I ever watched with my mom. So I think there's a certain part of me that's curious, but not enough to try to get kind of HBO Max access. Right. Whatever.
I'm sure
Rachel and Ross were toxic, and
no. I'm sure Joey will be canceled at some point.
Anyway, that's all I got.
All right. Cool.
So